So today we got here Magnus Jörn. Magnus, actually, I met him, I believe it's almost 4 years ago. We were just starting, I don't know if you know this, Liz, we were just starting the Marbella Tech Meetups. And the first one we did in another location that was not the Marbella International University, we did an Andalusia Lab. Mm-hmm. And in that event, I was lucky enough to meet Magnus back in the day. So, hi, Magnus, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here and to seeing the pool.
Exactly,
Quite an upgrade from Andalusia Labs, I guess, from the last time.
Yes.
It's funny because he came in here. I met him early today, and he was like, "Oh, it looks really nice." And of course, I mean, he hadn't seen it yet, so I'm glad you like it. It's really nice to have you here, Magnus. Back in the day, I mean, I was already impressed with what you had done with the tap water, your vision, all focused on sustainability and so. But I would like the people listening into us that they get to know you a little bit more. So I'd like to, if you could say who you are, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
So yes, my name is Magnus, as you heard. I'm originally from Sweden, but actually I haven't lived that many years in Sweden. I've now lived more years in both Spain and the US. So it feels strange.
Citizen of the world.
But I'm still Swedish. My background is tech. I've been a tech entrepreneur, I think, since I was 14 years old when I started doing my own programs and starting to try to sell them. My dad was a tech entrepreneur as well, so that was my inspiration. And I was lucky enough to get straight into like the IT bubble boom in Sweden in the 90s, where everything just went up and up and up. And then when it burst,
that was a different story.
No, I mean that when it burst, actually it just didn't. I lost a lot of money on paper, but I think I'm happy about that in retrospect.
Well, at least we're in that situation where you can look back. It was like, it was worth it.
Exactly.
But it's a passion of yours, right? Being in the IT world and the tech world.
Yes.
So and regardless of the losses, I think you're always able to find something positive in that, right?
Exactly. And thanks to this as well, I ended up living in London and working for a big company. I worked for Vodafone Group for 4 or 5 years. And there I learned everything about what was happening in the mobile world, in particular about mobile gaming, mobile apps, and so on. And together with some friends of mine, I thought this mobile app thing and games seems really interesting. Like everybody was playing Snake and Tetris and so on.
I'm just going to ask you what year that was approximately?
Yes, so this was in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just before like the App Store.
Exactly.
Just the boom of that.
So I basically took that knowledge and came up with the idea, let's start an app development company and we'll develop games and apps for big brands.
That's Golden Gecko, right?
Exactly. And we named the company Golden Gecko. And we went to the top 100 brands in Sweden, like everyone from IKEA, ICA, H&M, and we pitched to all of them that you need a mobile app. And all of them said no. It was no, 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 no. And they said, this is the most stupid idea we've ever heard. Like, who would ever download a mobile app? And then finally, one of them said yes, and it was Arla in Sweden.
The milk?
Yeah. And because they had an online recipe guide, and we said, let's just put it on the mobile phone. So when you go shopping, you can see what you need from your recipes, and then you go home and make the food.
That's a pure sales right there, right? Taking his original concept, just adapting is like, okay, 100%. Start from there. Exactly, right? Yeah. Interesting.
And that, and then after that, once we could show that, then all the other brands said yes. And then the iPhone came out and the App Store, and then things went boom, straight up. So we had an amazing ride from like 2006 to 2012, where the company just grew and grew. And I actually ended up moving very early on from London to Barcelona during this period because London was very expensive to live in as an entrepreneur. So, you could live for much lower cost and hire people much cheaper in Barcelona. So that's how I ended up there.
And you get your nice dose of vitamin D as well.
Exactly.
And once again, sorry, what year was this that you moved to Barcelona, more or less?
2007.
2006.
2007. It was kind of an up, like when I came there wasn't much of a tech community. So it was really something that built up during that period. And I think we were part of that. Like we had lots of meetups. So we we started what we called Golden Gecko University. So it was we brought in, I think, like 20 interns per year, and they would work on non-profit projects for the UN, for SIDA in Sweden, for different organizations. So we would do projects for free, app development projects for these organizations, and the interns would learn everything from like design, development, program management, and then we would just hire the best people from each course.
So it seems like a double impact program right there. First, because I mean, you do it for ONGs basically, and then obviously you got the next one, which is for for the kids and the people who are learning.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So that was really cool, because I think this is one of the important things today. Everybody wants to have like a big purpose and a big impact. The core of our business was just developing great mobile applications for big businesses. But then you also want the staff, like the people, to feel that they're part of something bigger. And what we created there was like we did these projects with our extra time and to teach people and learn them, and we got something out of that.
Cool.
Extra time back in those days.
Yeah, we actually got inspired from the Google. So we tried a little bit, like the 1 day a week from Google, 20% of your time, but most of that time was outside of your working hours. It was
Exactly. Losing hours of sleep, and I could imagine.
But that worked.
And these meetups, you created them?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was a very intense period of a lot of foreigners moving in there and starting up companies, and we were trying to help each other and give each other ideas and share ideas. Because in reality, although the city has taken a lot of credit for creating and getting businesses there, I don't think it has anything to do with the city of Barcelona. It was all about the climate, a beautiful city, a great environment, parties, social things, just so many things, like just a great place, like Marbella and like Malaga. So I think, you have the basics, then the extras that you need to do is to have great universities. So that is something that is really important, to have the tech pool. And the nice thing about both Barcelona and Marbella, Malaga, is that you can recruit people from all over the world. It's attractive for people to come and live and work. But you need a combination of locals and outsiders, because if you don't, I think you're going to create a bit of a micro bubble for yourself. So.
And that is something that has happened in several places. I think, you mentioned Barcelona and Malaga, and both are very, you've got people from everywhere, very cosmopolitan, very international places. And I agree, Barcelona back in those days, I think even I was working in Barcelona more or less the same period of time. Great city, great, but I think, as you said, they tend to grow just basically because if you've got these factors that make it attractive just to be there, and then the community itself kind of starts creating things just because of the fact that they're there and the things are boiling.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
And the big disadvantage that Barcelona has is definitely language. It's Catalan.
That's
It's a complicated thing, but a lot of people leave, especially when they have kids and other things.
Are you in touch with a lot of people from Barcelona still? So do you have any idea what the ecosystem looks like now, or not so much?
It's changed a lot, especially because it's become so much more expensive to find accommodations. That's actually meant that it's been more difficult to attract people to come and live and work there. We managed to get a lot of people from Eastern Europe, for example, and they just said, no, it's too expensive.
We found that situation, yeah. Interesting. So what happened afterwards?
So then I ended up selling Golden Gecko to a US company, which is also a fantastic journey. So spending a lot of time in the US after that acquisition and just growing and growing. And then after a few years, I wanted to do something else. And I wanted to do something that was more like direct impact related, something that I could tell my kids about and feel good about. Daddy did this when we were kids. And the challenge that we embarked on was basically that if you look in Spain, 7 to 8 million households only consume bottled water, so they don't drink the tap water. And our question was, why is this? Can we change it? And if we can change it, we know that we could have a great impact. So we started prototyping, testing all the products that we could find in the market. We basically took the software approach, but on hardware.
Yeah, because I was about to say it's not an easy thing to test drive. It's more of a lab thing. If you would ask me, I have no
No.
experience in that. But then now you say you did the software approach. So
Because basically we took all products that we could find in China and the US and other places, and then we just gave them to friends to test them and get feedback on them and to see what works and what doesn't work. And based on this, we came up with some really interesting product combinations, and we started tap water with 2 P's.
exactly.
And thinking that, look, here we have a product. So our first product was a faucet filter. It was a filter that you attach to the faucet, and then you get tasty, clean tap water out of it. So very simple. The nice benefits are you save money. So compared to bottled water, you probably save 200, 300 euros per year. It's much more convenient. You don't have to carry home 1,000 kilos of water per year, plus then take all of the plastic bottles and put them in the recycling bin.
Plus the physiotherapy rehab you have to do after breaking your back, carrying all the bottles, etc. Yeah.
It's better
All
for
those
your
extra costs.
and it's better for your health because you don't get all the microplastics and hormone disruptors and terrible things that we've now found out that exist in bottled water. And then fourth, it's better for the planet and the environment. So it's like 4 really, really strong benefits. So we thought this is going to be, super easy company to build. So our projections were we're going to have 1 million customers in 3 years. After 3 years, I think we had 10,000 customers, because changing human behavior is really, really hard. And also building hardware is hard.
Yeah.
Like designing, building, creating, shipping across the world, shipping to customers, all of these things. Wow, it's hard.
So tap water's sort of mission, I would say, based on like the little research I did the other day, it's to sort of reduce the human impact on the planet, right?
Yes.
What sort of challenges have you found in combining sustainability and affordability to your clients and,
So I think,
customers?
yeah, I mean, so one of them is that, actually, so I'll name a couple. One is sustainability doesn't sell. So this was one of our first theories, was that we'll build the brand around the impact that you have. Doesn't work at all.
In no countries.
No.
Okay. So, but you were selling tap water globally, and with that motto, it didn't stick.
I mean, it works in a very, very small niche segment, but it's like 0.5% of the households. If you can target them, they'll be like, wow, this is great. I'm going to be more sustainable. I'm going to buy this product. But no, most people
it's
don't.
more of a psychological thing
Yeah.
that you have to battle first, right?
So the reasons that people change is cost savings. But the problem is they actually don't know how much money they spend on bottled water, because per bottle, it costs nothing. So if you look at when you go to the supermarkets, it's not like you're spending a lot of money. It's just that it adds up over time. And 2, like the convenience factor, people don't like. They're kind of like, this is not too bad. It's convenient. I can just grab my bottle from the fridge and bring it with me wherever I go. So it's like, you need to be really clear in the communication and consistent with these things. And I think it took a while to understand how you bring this out in your advertising and your communication and so on.
I mean, because there is a part of education in the sales pitch that you're doing. Obviously, you need to tell them. Obviously, I think clients, as soon as they see they need to change something, you're going to find that they're quite reluctant to change anything in their habits, even if it's for the better. But change is not necessarily something people are willing to do. So I think that's kind of this is quite a tangible case of that happening.
But the interesting things that started to make it work, one is that we trust our friends and family. So referrals has been our top channel in terms of advertising. So once we started, we got to after a couple of years, we got to 1% of the households in Barcelona. And then after that, actually 25-30% of all of our sales came just from recommendations.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably more of a selfish question. As Chris knows, I'm very into my water. My little bazooka over there. 2 liters of water I always bring. How often would you need to change a filter for one of the tap water installations?
Ours are between 1 to 3 months. It depends on your water consumption, the water quality, and other factors.
And does that depend, of course, like even in this whole region of Malaga, there's some places that seem to have better tap water mineralization and less calcium and less, all of these things that kind of people need to filter out before they drink it.
Yeah, for example, it depends on how far away you live from the nearest chlorination station. So,
Right.
There's lots and lots of factors that impact it. But in general terms, it's not super complicated to develop a good water filter. The complicated thing, though, is that it's a product that people use like 20 times, 30 times per day. It's in an environment where you have a lot of water pressure, so there's a lot of things that can break. And this has been one of our main challenges. It took us several years to work these things out. In the meantime, we spent a lot of money on advertising, and actually we saw our main competitors were growing thanks to us. So when we met them at conferences, they were like, "You guys are doing great. We love
Exactly.
what you're doing.
Keep on doing
Keep
what
on
you're doing.
this.
Double up.
You're
Yeah.
educating people. You're doing all these things. So it's super." But yeah, I think we've learned so many things from this, and it's.
Could it be that maybe you were a little bit spoiled from your first experience at Golden Gecko, that just was skyrocketing, and then the concept was really simple, and then obviously you embarked on this new journey with the sustainability and all that, and people just you found that the approach and the sale was a little bit more complicated.
Definitely. And I mean, like the amount of things that you have to learn when you start, like when you do a hardware product, consumer hardware product, because it includes, you have to know e-commerce, you have to know marketing, customer service, hardware production, like I said, supply chain, logistics. There's just so many elements of these things. And then you think, oh, going back to software is so much easier.
Just open up your laptop wherever you are.
Exactly. But I'm so happy that we've done this because, in the end, it's worked out fantastically well. I think last year we hit 100 million plastic bottles offset by our customers. And hopefully, we're targeting to get to 1 billion in a year or two. So it's now growing fast. And one of the other things was we found a really good home. One of our investors was the Swedish company Blue Water.
I've tried their water.
And that has a super passionate entrepreneur that really, really wants, on the same mission as us, and that really wants to change the world and get rid of plastic bottles. So in the end, after partnering for a while and having them as investor, they decided to acquire most of the company. So today I'm a smaller shareholder and I continue to work together with them, but it's now part of this bigger group.
You can spend more time with the family.
Exactly.
So knowing you, the little that I know you, Magnus, obviously now you said that Blue Water is more taking care of tap. So all of a sudden that's been taking off your plate. What does that mean for your day-to-day now? Because a person like you who's been an entrepreneur since as you said, 14 years, and now sitting in Cádiz with your brain active and with plenty of time, what happens? What's the outcome of that?
Yeah, so the first part has been, my first challenge to myself was to do as little as possible and just spend time with my family. I have 3 small kids, 6, 4, and 1. So yeah, they require a bit of time.
Could imagine.
I live in paradise. Cádiz is an amazing place in terms
Great
of
beaches there, hey?
nature, surfing.
Yeah, don't promote it too much. We wanted to keep it as a hidden gem in paradise.
But
so
it's a place to visit when you live in Marbella.
For sure.
For sure. Could you have any advice for anyone who's trying to be or wanting to be a serial entrepreneur?
I think the top ones for me has been, one is find great co-founders and just talk to lots of people about the ideas that you have. And then one with Tapwater, this water business, I think I pitched the idea to 30, 40 different people before one person and me, we clicked and we said, you're really good at this and I'm really good at this. So let's do this together. Let's try it out. And it just worked perfectly. And then you help to push each other as well. And I think that's a really important thing, especially in early days of business. And if you start as a side project, it's even more important, because if you don't have that other person to push you, it's not going to happen. So that's number one. And then number 2 is also not jumping on the first idea you have. It's very easily done. Ideally we should make a list of 50 things that you could do, all the things that you could spend your time on, and then make sure that you really spend it on the thing that has the best combination of like return of investment in your time, something that you think that you're going to enjoy. Or, it's okay also to say, I'm not going to enjoy it, but I think that I'm going to make a lot of money and that's important for me right now. Whatever your priorities are, but to really go through that, because
So being honest
yeah.
with what you want in that moment, kind of thing.
Yeah. And then it's just like, just go for it. Launch as quickly as possible, because this is the other thing with most businesses. They just keep on going, like never happy with the first version, never want to launch their website, never want to launch their app. We were like, we took products that we could find off the shelf from Taiwan and just started selling them to people. And before we had a working website, we would just have, just email us and we'll come and deliver it to your house and you pay us in cash.
Yeah. But I love it, because I mean, I'm a firm believer, and you don't have to get it perfect. You just need to get it going. And especially when it comes to, I think I see it more in the generation that's coming up now. They need that perfection to take the first step. And I think maybe our generation was a little bit, it's I got this idea, let's just move forward and see what happens.
Adapt as we go along. That's
Exactly.
a common theme in this podcast. It seems previous guests mentioned adaptability is super important in her field, and I think it's the same with yours in your experience, right?
And then the next thing is just having like great people, like really being selective about who you hire in the beginning, because that's also an easy thing. Like you end up hiring friends or people that you just meet or someone recommends to you. And I think like the first people you meet, especially if you give them shares and you call them co-founders, it's so important to get the right people and to have the right conditions with them and to have the right environment. And I don't think like you can do remote work, but then you need to find the right combination of that and meet often enough to do that. Or, and I think this is the interesting thing with Silicon Valley. So many companies started in a garage. So it doesn't have to be, obviously it's amazing. If you can be in the pool.
Great.
Thanks for plugging us. Appreciate it.
But if you can't afford it to start with, then, start in your garage, start in your kitchen. Just start. Yeah.
That reminds me of dear friend Cristobal Alonso. He's the CEO for Startup Wise Guys, which is the biggest accelerator in Europe. He keeps on telling me the same thing, because I asked him the same question back in the days. Like, if you're going to start something, what's your advice to these people who have an idea and maybe have this, got this idea of a concept and they want to promote it, etc. So it's like, what's the most important thing to keep in mind? It's like, spend time having dinner with your co-founder or CEO. Meet his family, because I mean, those are the people you're going to be surrounding yourself with. You're going to see if the chemistry is right, if you share the same values, etc. And now you're basically reinforcing more of the same idea. And I think especially when you start something, it's so easy to say, yeah, we're going to be co-founders. Why? Because there's nothing involved, and you're going to be CFO, and you're going to be that. But yeah, I completely agree. It's important to have that from the beginning, knowing a little bit who you're going to get involved for which role, etc. I think I completely agree with it. So all this nowadays from Cádiz.
Yes.
How's that working for you?
It's great from an everyday life point of view and lifestyle. I think it definitely lacks the inspiration that you get from living here or living in Barcelona, or as I've lived in the past in London, San Francisco, New York.
Busy city life.
Yeah. So it's a very, you need to find your inspiration elsewhere. You need to make sure they connect with people, that you call up your friends and ask them what's going on, and that you come and visit the big cities, because otherwise, you're gonna just slow down. Your brain is gonna slow down.
You're just gonna remember when to harvest and when to collect your avocados and those kind of things, right? Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be taking up all of your brain. But you launched basically an entrepreneur group in Cádiz as well.
Inspired by you guys here, actually. It was because I was invited to the Marbella Tech meetups, and then I was like, I need to have something a little bit local like this. So
how's that going?
It's been super fun, because actually a lot of them have ended up doing startups together, starting things. One of them is here today, and I think 4 or 5 people that he met at these events, he's hired now.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
So I'm super happy about that. And it's maybe not it's it's for me, it's really been more about giving back and inspiring other people to do something, getting them to do something. Like sometimes I just show up, and then after half an hour I leave. I say, bye guys, I have to go home and see my family.
Leave you to it.
And they do great.
Reminds me of somebody. Oh, yeah. No, but I've got to say, I mean, story is amazing. The fact that you've been through this journey, the companies that we talked about, and now, from Cádiz, setting up your own group, and but yeah, the only thing you're lacking is maybe come to visit Marbella a little bit more often to have this impact in the pool that you've had on us, and as you said, we've maybe impacted you a little bit as well. So that's always nice.
Yes, and now I'm thinking. So I have some ideas in mind from later this year.
Care to share any that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely so. It makes a lot of sense right now, obviously, to involve AI in whatever you do. And since my past is a lot about mobile app development and human-centric design, my idea is to combine these three things that I'm very passionate about and I really enjoy working with. And I found a super good co-founder as well that I used to work with 10 years ago in the US. So.
So on the
Hopefully.
next podcast that we have you on, we'll be hearing more about this new venture, this new idea.
Yes,
it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of great insights from here, because what I like the most is that when people describe problems that they have, like, and skepticism. So I like AI doesn't work for me because of this and that, or we have this issue with our tech platforms, with our tech stack. Like, all of these things are so interesting to hear, because in the end, we're about solving problems. Like, that's what I'm looking
This is where you're taking mental notes of them. It's like, hey,
we'll make sure not to do that.
Exactly. Or we need to find a solution for that in particular. Yeah.
And then I think the thing that I have to keep on reminding myself about this again, like once we start hiring, is being really, really picky about those hires. And I think this is not something that you can do. Again, it's also a great thing about being, especially if in a place like Marbella or Barcelona, is that you can be picky because there's so many people that want to come and live in these places. So you can, like, why not hire, like, instead of, so like, I would typically try to get like 300-400 candidates for any job that qualify for the job, and then interview at least 20-25. And then spend time with the last 3 candidates before hiring them. And I think going through this picky process has really helped me over and over again.
Really interesting. Magnus, I think that's it from us. It's been great talking to you, seeing you again 4 years later, and you finally got to see the pool. And now we've been able to host you here at our podcast. So I'm really, really glad you could make it.
Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to coming back here a lot more often now.
Yeah, you'll be talking about your next project.
This is your Marbella home when you need it.
When you need that inspiration that you said that sometimes you're lacking in Cádiz, you're welcome to come here.
Thank you.